Hello, my name is Taylor Matkins, and I'm going to talk about my key function analysis dealing with the HR department at Pitt County Schools. I will talk about the three viewpoints of how HR is viewed in Pitt County Schools. I will first talk about how it is viewed from the district level, then I will look at it from the school level, and then the community level. In order to get a better understanding of how our HR works and all of their functions, I went to the HR director and actually had a conversation with Dr. Council. She gave me a little of an insight of all the things that the HR does throughout the school year. During my visit with Dr. Council, she gave me a little better understanding of all that the HR has to deal with throughout the school year. A lot of things I had no idea the HR was really a part of until I actually sat down and had a conversation with her. I was amazed with all that they did do. And normally, a lot of people think of the HR department as the bad department, that if you get in trouble, you have to go and talk to the HR department. But having a conversation with Dr. Council, I found out they do a lot more than just that. One of the cool things that she gave me was a calendar that the HR department follows. She gave me a Pitt County Schools calendar and a state calendar. Our HR department uses this calendar as a way to kind of stay on track with things. It's also used as a checklist to make sure that at the end of each month they have everything accomplished that they are supposed to have accomplished. I cannot stress to you how much this conversation really opened up my eyes and let me really know all that the HR does. There's so many things that we take for granted as school-based administrators that the HR department does for us, and it's something that we really need to be respectful for. So the first part of my key function analysis looks at the district level and how they view the HR department. The HR department is supposed to monitor and make sure that all schools are doing their NC evaluations like they're supposed to. The HR department holds conversations with administrators to let them know that, hey, you may be behind on some of your evaluations, you may need to pick things up. And not only that, but they also talk with school administrators about their classified evaluations, i.e., bus drivers, custodians, etc. One of the cool things, or the most interesting things that I found out was that during the summertime when schools are no longer in, that's actually the busiest time for the HR department. They spend the summertime creating new hire orientations for those new hires so they can get acclimated to the county and the expectations. They take the updated salary schedules that the state provides and they make sure that all the employees are on the correct salary schedule. As you can imagine, in North Carolina this day and age, recruiting teachers and retaining teachers is probably one of the hardest jobs, and that's an expectation of the HR department. They are expected to find creative ways to recruit teachers and to retain those teachers. Our HR department has gone to Pittsburgh and Virginia and all other places, other states, in order to recruit new teachers. Pitt County Schools HR department is actually hosting their very own job fair this year. This is something new that they are trying in order to help, recruit new teachers. The district level viewpoint is also that the HR department provides beginning teacher support, assists with payroll, mentor training, and any other things such as end of the year ceremonies that might be crucial to employees. All in all, from the district level, the HR department holds a very key, important place in the LEA. They often have to do the dirty work, but a lot of times they are able to do other important things that help out with the LEA as well. The second viewpoint that I will look at is from the school level. Obviously, the biggest thing is that schools expect the HR department to provide new hires, to approve new hires, and to create, go through the background checks that are needed for those teachers to become employees. A lot of hiring takes place over the summer, as you can imagine, so that is often why the HR department is most busiest during the summertime. Schools also expect the HR department to provide support for their employees when certain situations occur. There are a lot of times when things happen that school principals and assistant principals will call on the HR department and say, "Hey, how do we deal with this situation? What's the best way to approach this situation? Either it be with an employee or with a student." And the HR department, tells us how to do that. The HR department also provides all school principals with their allotments for the next year and what's the best way to figure out those allotments. They will work with those school principals to figure out what's the best bang for their buck. And lastly, from the school level viewpoint, the HR department helps school principals and school administrators, determine what's the appropriate leave, employee leave, such as maternity leaves, disability leaves, and stuff like that. The last viewpoint I'm going to talk about is the community viewpoint of the HR department. As you can imagine, the biggest thing that the community feels like the HR department should do is receive their complaints. When parents are unhappy with how a school has handled a situation, whether it be grades or discipline, the first thing that they do is call Pitt County Schools, and Pitt County Schools then directs them to the HR department. The HR department listens to those, tries to reason with the teacher, and if they need to, they'll step in and actually mediate the problem. The HR department also creates the school calendar for Pitt County Schools, and of course our parents and community rely on that heavily. And lastly, HR department deals with school districts and making sure that they're all equal and fair, and that's another viewpoint of our community. There were many things that I learned from the HR discussion with Dr. Council. I already had a tremendous amount of respect for what they did every day, but after having this conversation, it once again just reiterated the point that they do a lot of things that we do not see even as school administrators. A lot of days they have a very tough job that they have to make decisions that are not always going to make everyone happy, but sometimes they have to make those tough decisions in order to get things accomplished.